4-0 to Leeds against Watford on the road. Leeds have typically had relatively poor away form, but right now we are on a generational run. And I want to put this in a little bit of context. I'm not sure even many Leeds fans are realising just how good we are right now. We're currently sat on a 14-game unbeaten streak in the league. The majority of those fixtures wins. We're not relying on draws. Recently, we're getting result after result. The last time we lost was away at Blackburn in November. We're nearly halfway through February now. The current form we're on could be the best I've ever seen from Leeds in my entire life. Obviously, we can go back to Marcelo Bielsa's time with us in the Championship, and there were some amazing moments there. But let's all just take into account at the minute just how incredible we are. And today was no different. Watford, a pretty decent team, someone who we have struggled against on occasion, especially on the away leg. Today we made them look silly for the majority of the game. I will admit they had some moments. Watford passed the ball around quite nicely for a few spells, created a couple of half chances, and actually had the lion's share of possession, which is very unusual against Leeds. However, we really stopped them from doing anything with the ball. And I think that as much as 4 goals is always going to be the pinnacle, one of my highlights of today was actually that defensive performance. When you can come up against an attacking-minded side like Watford and stop them really creating any out-and-out chances, one good one-on-one for Sissoko in the first half and one where they hit the bar in the second. Apart from that, it seemed like every time they actually tried to attack, move the ball quickly through our defence, the defence was having absolutely none of it. And that defensive lineup currently, I said it in the last video, I think with the 4 at the back, the fullbacks are allowed to get forward and are impactful in every game and definitely need to keep going forward. But when you've got Tanaka and Gruev as the 2 centre mids to cover for those fullbacks and for any other defender that needs to step up for any reason, it just seems to click so well. But overall, our attacking play today, wow. It's some unreal passing. The majority of the correct decisions made. I think that's something we struggle with a lot of the time. Maybe we don't make the right pass. Maybe someone makes the wrong run. Up to the substitutions coming on today, that was not an issue at all. We truly were all over Watford. And I'm just amazed. I expected today to be a very difficult fixture. And it was a calm watch pretty much from the get-go. Obviously, they had a chance in the first couple of minutes. Well, not even a chance really, where Ampadu tries to clear the ball or blocks the ball and it bounces up and hits him in the arm. Could have been a penalty. If it was against Leeds, I'd be saying it should have been a penalty. So that could have changed the game at 0-0 if that was given. But it wasn't. We move on. I'm grateful for that. And then it was just domination there on in, really. Before I go into the goals and a little bit more detail on the game, if you are a Leeds United fan, if you're a football or a Championship fan in general, please do remember to hit like and hit subscribe. I appreciate every single person that subscribes to the channel. But on the game, obviously that in the first couple of minutes could have been a penalty for Watford, but then not too long afterwards, Watford give the ball away to Dan James, who sprints through and pings it in. I must admit, Dan James's shooting technique still never fills me with confidence. It seems like the majority of his shots that go in are either toe pokes or just absolute power balls straight in. This was one of those power ones, but it does go in, so I have no complaints. I must admit, I think from a Watford point of view, their biggest downfall tonight was giving the ball away in stupid positions. They did it so many times. It led to a couple goals, a couple corners and opportunities for Leeds, but it also just invited unneeded pressure. They were clearly trying to keep possession a lot of the time, but maybe that wasn't the correct move against us, because when they were trying to keep it and being pressured, they handed us so many opportunities on silver plates, and Dan James took this one away. And it felt like a little rampage in that first half section. The second goal to make it 2-0 comes from that man, Dan James, again. Fantastic counter-attack. Pirot's on the ball, keeps it calm and collected and puts a really nice pass through to James, who again just rockets it. This one with even more power into the back of the net. Pirot surprises me whenever he pulls off a pass like that and stays calm in those moments. A really good game for him today, and he's had a good last couple of games, to be fair. Sometimes, and if you go back and or have watched previous videos, I'm always saying, well, how much does he add? How much does he bring to the game? Would someone else do more? I think the last couple of games, really, he's proved me wrong. Great pass through to James, who is having an unreal season. that all wingers are for Leeds, really. Obviously, Nonto Ramazani not really getting a chance on a regular basis to show that what they can do. But right now, Dan James and Manor Solomon are two of the best in the league. Speaking of Manor Solomon, we quickly go on to the third goal. A massive deflection, but you have to take the shot. Solomon's just on the edge of the box, hits it, deflection, keeper's wrong-footed, and it goes in. A lot of talk on Sky Sports about maybe the keeper could have got up and got there and been a little bit quicker with it. Personally, I would not put that goal on the keeper at all. I don't think there's much he can do to stop that. He's literally already touching the ground going the other way. Deflections happen, but it means Solomon has another goal on, because I think that was going on target, so another goal on the tally, and he deserves it. He's just so good on the ball. I heard somebody compare him to Kaká at the start when he was started playing for us, and obviously I'm not saying he's as good as Kaká, but I can see where the kind of weak comparison comes from, because it's like the ball is glued to his foot, and he's not the paciest player, which most wingers are. However, he's just always in the right place, and he can beat a man just because you can't get the ball away from him. I'm liking him more and more every game. I know he's quite injury prone. I think that would be one of our biggest downfalls. If Solomon is to get injured, it could massively impact our season. So I pray that doesn't happen. And I also believe that, because I'll talk about this now. Every time in recent games we've had cameos from our more attacking-minded substitutions, I'm not expecting them to set the world alight when they're not starting, but especially Ramazani really hasn't seemed to be on it since he came back from injury. I've not particularly liked what I've seen from him. I admit, if he was starting every single game and maybe bedded into the squad and drilled in a little bit more, he would probably improve. But today he looked a little bit lacklustre. The last couple times he's come on and in cup appearances, he's not done as much as he could have been for me. Nonto, I kind of let off a little bit because he had a very good start to the season and has been playing well whenever he started. He's not had the opportunity to start as much recently. But I just think with those two, let me know what you think, Leeds fans. Am I being unfair on these? I just think that their decision making when it comes to playing the right pass, maybe a little bit of greed in trying to get a shot off all the time to up the stats or potentially get more of a run in the team, seems to be occurring way more often than it does with James or Solomon. So yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one, but back to the game. That first half was absolutely dominant. And we come out in the second half. To be fair, Watford, again, they were trying to break us down and did create a couple of half opportunities. And I would say they were much better in the second half than they were in the first. Also mainly because they only conceded one goal instead of 3. But they were putting together some nice attacking moves. Just it wasn't really working out for them. I do think that come the end of the season, maybe they're not quite good enough to get into the playoffs, but they should be in and around that fight, especially with the squad they've got. And I do believe that Cleverley is a decent manager, but it wouldn't surprise me if they lost another 2 games if he goes, given the revolving door that is always in action at Watford. But let's touch on that 4th goal by Leeds, because I think that was by far the best goal I've seen in a long time. For Tanaka to keep the ball in that position against Tom Ince was unexpected. Puts a lovely, calm little pass through to Solomon, who again just shifts it across to Pirot in the box. And I did not know that Pirot had that type of footwork in his locker, but he just dummies, beats a man and slots it in the bottom corner. We're all going to talk about the passing move and the little bit of skill from Pirot leading up to it, but he also has to place that in the bottom corner given how close he is to the goalkeeper, and he does that. Unreal. Fantastic goal. To have the confidence to execute that entire attacking move away from home at Watford really proves the state in which this team is in. And I think we saw that at the end of the game when the entire squad's there, holding hands, cheering with Daniel Farke. If this game doesn't scream promotion to you, I don't know what does. And it's the same with Cardiff the other week. It's the same with Coventry. We're scoring goal after goal, not conceding many, if any. This has got to be a promotion run for Leeds. If we don't go up now with this squad and with this current form, this will be the biggest instance of falling apart I've ever seen. At this stage last season, we were going on a similar run, but we were catching up to the teams. We're already there. We were already there, and we need to stay there. It's that the amount of goals we score is truly incredible. Our goal difference, or our goals scored, is 19 higher than the other 4 teams, Sunderland, Sheffield and Burnley, around us. We've scored 19 goals more than them. Only Burnley have conceded less than us, but I can accept that because they don't score at all, 0-0 after 0-0. So it's just unreal. That attacking line and the depth of this squad means that we simply have to go up. On the second half, again, though, we had a few other half chances, a few opportunities, but I don't really think there's much more to touch on. We controlled the game well. Watford had a couple chances, hit the crossbar towards the end of the half, a decent opportunity for them. Meslier made a couple decent saves again throughout the game and did exactly what he needed to do, so I hope that his confidence is high at the minute, because it really should be. He's doing all he can every game to keep a clean sheet, and we are successfully doing so. But yeah, that's it from me on today. Really, really happy with the performance, and I'm really happy with the performance of every single individual player. I've got nothing but praise, and if you enjoyed the video, please do remember to hit like and subscribe. We talk a hell of a lot about football and a hell of a lot about Leeds United. I'll catch you again soon. Peace.